yellow weather warning has been issued due to plummeting temperatures, the Met Office has announced. With icy stretches, particularly across parts of England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, the National Weather Service has advised that there is a likelihood that schools, road, bus and rail networks could be affected. Slips and falls can also be a danger for pedestrians when conditions are icy. But what about gardens? If this cold snap sets, it could also be very damaging to plants. Here are some of the key tasks gardeners can do to ensure that they are prepared as the cold weather sets in. Bring any tender plants indoors. While winter is known as the quietest time of year for gardeners, it is important for Guy Barter, the chief horticulturist at RHS, to ensure that the plants in your garden are well protected to avoid any long-term damage. The first thing to do is to bring any tender plants, they can be damaged by a little frost, including begonias, pelargoniums and geraniums, that are still outside and move them to somewhere sheltered, said Barter. They would need to be indoors where it never gets frosty. Ideally the temperature should stay above 7 degrees at a very minimum. Below 7 degrees, irreversible harm happens to the plant cells. So if you do this, there's a good chance that your plants survive the winter without the cost of heating fuel to be too high in your own home. But it needs to be a place with a lot of light, like on the windowsill. Put hardy plants in a greenhouse or against the house wall. Plants need time to harden off gradually and can be severely damaged if a mild autumn is abruptly followed by cold. For any plants that are reasonably hardy, that's things like salvias, move them into an unheated greenhouse if you've got one, or against the house wall is good enough, Barter said. These plants should be able to resist the cold down to -5 perhaps. But with that bit of extra shelter from the greenhouse or house wall, and the fact that they would be a bit drier there, they will ride out the cold weather. These are plants in pots, of course. Cut them back. There are a lot of plants like dahlias that die in the winter, so it's best to cut them back to ground level, about 6 inches, so you can find them again in the spring, said Barter. The roots also can either be dug up, brought indoors and stored in a shed where they won't get frozen, or they could just be left in the ground, as the soil doesn't get too wet in the winter. And with a pile of mulch, bark chips or wood chips lying on top, you can buy from garden centers. They have a lot of buds in the roots that regrow in the spring, very conveniently, and go dormant in the cold weather and can ride it out. It's just important to try and keep the frost out of the pile of mulch, if possible. Gather up the leaves, Barter went on to say. It's also the time to gather up the leaves that have fallen and sweep them under bushes where they can rot down naturally, or make a pile of them to rot down and make some leaf mold. And then you can also think about doing some winter pruning. These would be soft fruit, like black currants and grapevines. And you might also prune, shorten, shape or thin out hedges and shrubs that have gotten too big. But evergreens, leave them until spring because they need their roots to look after themselves over the winter, or they will go dormant. It's a great opportunity to see the bare bones of your garden. Some parts might look sparse, so you can make notes to order plants for the spring. Or you can order trees and shrubs, like pear roots, which are a bit cheaper than plants being grown in pots. It's usually a cheaper time for keen gardeners, a huge relief. Join the Daily Record WhatsApp community. Get the latest news sent straight to your messages by joining our WhatsApp community today. You'll receive daily updates on breaking news as well as the top headlines across Scotland. No one will be able to see who is signed up, and no one can send messages except the Daily Record team. All you have to do is click here. If you're on mobile, select Join Community and you're in. If you're on a desktop, simply scan the QR code above with your phone and click Join Community. We also treat our community members to special offers, promotions, and adverts from us and our partners. If you don't like our community, you can check out anytime you like. To leave our community, click on the name at the top of your screen and choose Exit Group. If you're curious, you can read our privacy notice. Don't miss the latest news from around Scotland and beyond. Sign up to our daily newsletter.